and I just have really taken it in the past couple of days, and I just want to say thank you. It's been great.
I strongly agree. What you put in, you kind of digest and you become that. But also, I wanted to thank you for the encouragement to get rid of certain things. So I have 3 huge garbage bags waiting to be donated. So I'm on decluttering and going through some stuff. So you know, figuratively and literally, we have to get rid of some emotions and some physical stuff. So I'm starting with my closet. Hopefully I'll reach a little bit deeper beyond the closet one day.
And that speaks to small actions, because when we, again, break things down when it comes to decluttering or purging anything, when you start small and you feel that good accomplishment, it only makes you want to do more. I listened to a podcast, and he talked about how just like we snowball out of control, we can snowball into control, and it starts with a small action. So that sounds fantastic.
You started the snowball effect, girl.
You're the snowball queen, Marta.
Oh.
I really want everyone to be like friends on Facebook in this, because Marta's pictures with her ski trip. Are you still in Montana?
No, I'm back.
Okay.
Back in the real world.
Just unbelievably beautiful.
It's nature. Okay. What can I say? It's the power of nature. That's why I say every day, any contact with it, even if you can pet your plant at home, literally caress the leaf, it will give you some energy. So that's what it is, the nature around us.
And there's a lot of science behind that. Like, I mean, obviously you're talking from experience, but there is so much science behind that. Okay, well, if everyone is ready, we're gonna get started. I'm really, really excited. I told whoever was on here first, I'm nervous because the stuff really just excites the bejesus out of me. And so I'm really going to try to stick to less than an hour. I appreciate everyone's patience, but I'm going to make it worth it. And please put any questions in the comments, because you know me, if I don't know the answer, I'm going to figure it out. But it all started with Crystal's request last week. She wanted to talk a little bit more about gut health and accountability. And I had two immediate thoughts. I didn't want to pick which topic was more important, because I think they're so important. So I didn't want to break them up and prolong one. And I just was like, but my second thought was, how the hell am I going to bridge these two together? And in my formulating of my outline, they're just like so perfectly blended. Here we go. So I'm going to start with accountability, which wasn't my original plan, but I switched it up. So what is accountability? The definition, according to Mr. Webster, or whoever that really is, an obligation or willingness to accept responsibility for one's actions. So what I used to think accountability was like someone helping me stay on track. And I think that's what most of us think of it as, because we all talk about accountability buddies, right? To work out, to eat healthy, to declutter. I did that with my sister. She and I were working on decluttering our homes together. But it's actually relying on yourself. So if we're lacking in self-accountability, do you want to know why that is? Oh, my screen went black. Why is that happening? Oh, I'm back. Did you see that happen? Okay.
Yeah.
Suspense. Why is that happening? That lack in self-accountability is an invoice from your mind. Your mind and your brain is telling you there's a problem here. There's an imbalance. So our brains have developed this belief that other people are more important than we are. We show up for work. We show up for our friends, for our kids, for our animals. And we're often putting the blame on all of that for not taking responsibility for ourselves, for what we choose to do, to make time for, to make excuses for, what we put in our minds, what we say to our partners, what we say to our children. Like, we can't control our circumstances, right? Life happens. Hello, COVID, right? But like Kim said weeks ago, we could focus on what foods we can eat, so we can focus on what we can control in our life. So our minds believe that we aren't strong enough to do something, smart enough, disciplined enough, outgoing enough, confident enough, read fast enough, healthy enough. We are telling ourselves that we're not enough, and we're believing that. So how do we build that belief that we are more than enough? And it's putting effort into your mindset, into your self-growth. So how are you exercising or expanding or growing your mind? We've been working on little, small actions, little steps for the last several weeks. So who is waking up and doing the morning grounding practice?
Yay, I am.
So I've actually made that a requirement. I have 6 new 30-day people that started this last Monday, and that is like, it's in the package. They paid for that. So like, that is just one way that I am incorporating it for that brain-gut connection. Okay, so awesome. That's one small action. And for those that are unaware of the morning grounding technique, so you wake up, and before your mind goes to all of the shenanigans that you have to do and take place for the day, and before it falls back into yesterday and what you didn't do, you're going to take a deep breath, put your feet on the floor, connect to the earth, to the ground, connect within, take a deep breath in and say, today's going to be a great day. With intention and with belief, even if there's a lot of hesitation there, even if you know what's going to come forward in that day isn't like the best thing ever, you're going to say, somehow be intentional about finding the good and starting in a good mindset. It will, like everyone on here, and for me, it will soon fade. But as you practice every day, you will begin to look for that to relieve yourself from the future anxiety thoughts. Because when we focus and live in the future thoughts, it's promoting anxiety. When we fall back and focus in the past, it promotes depression. So that's just one small step. Okay, so another exercise that we talked about was the deep belly breath and the long exhale. So has anyone been practicing that like twice a day or even more than that? Nice, Tina, right on. Anyone else?
I am on the PRN basis.
Okay, as needed. Wonderful, wonderful. So I am also more so PRN, which that's Latin for as needed. And I do it when I start to feel my heart race and when I start to get anxious, especially with going live or talking about my voice, like that makes me really anxious. So I do that belly breath and long exhale. The cool thing about that is that I didn't get too technical on this, but it's so cool. Okay, so belly breathing stimulates the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is a nerve that runs from our brain through our neck into our chest cavity, infiltrating, so filling in the actual nerves that work with our heart, with our lungs, down through the digestive system, and ends at the colon. So it is that brain gut connection, literally, and it works in both directions. So that is that hyper pathway, hyper highway, where we can actually gain back control. So when we stimulate this nerve, the vagus nerve, it activates relaxation. It literally promotes hormones to help relax ourselves. The body is just an amazingly powerful piece of equipment that we are so disconnected from that we don't even know how to use it. Like we need an instruction manual. And that's kind of what I feel like I listen to and read when I am looking into all these things. But it lowers your stress hormones, literally like stops the body from producing stress hormones. It reduces your blood pressure. Like we have so much more control than what we think. And I'm not going to go into like modern science and how it over medicates and doesn't talk about deep breathing because it's free and who cares about that. And it improves decision making. So that's where we can find that moment before we react and actually breathe and respond. So there was a few other, we talked about the I Am app or other apps like that for affirmations. Has anyone else gotten that? I think, anybody else? I know Lindsay and I have that app. Oh, and Tina. Yeah, Tina, you got that app too. Okay. So it's another reminder.
I also recently learned, I was at a Pampered Chef conference last week, and I shared at the same actual presentation chat that I did with you guys, I shared with them about the savers in the Miracle Morning. And I realized after the fact, somebody said to me, well, I wish that I could create my own affirmations in that I Am app. And you can, I think it's like $9.99 for the year. And then you can create your own. So if there's something specific that, that you're working towards, you can do that. So sorry, sidebar.
Awesome. No, that's awesome. That's great. Because I saw that they added a new like line of stress and anxiety ones, but it's like I've loved the ones that I have so much. I don't want to like, I don't know, stop seeing those and see different ones, but I'm sure they're all wonderful. Cool. So cool. So if you did these deep belly breaths, so again, belly breathing is trying to breathe and fill your belly versus your chest. A lot of people, including myself, were more so chest breathers. So filling your belly, like pooching it out, filling it up with air, and then holding it for a few seconds, and then letting the exhale out longer. A really easy way of doing it is just like a 4-8 count or 4-6 count, something like that. Breathing in for 4 and letting it out for 6, a longer exhale. So that really does stimulate the vagus nerve. And if you did these deep belly breaths for 1 to 2 minutes, that's a meditation. Like, it's that simple. A lot of people are like, meditation. And I was there. I was like, I'm not a hokey, hippy dippy lady. Yes, I am. But I'm like, yeah, meditation. So if you, and what the whole point of meditation is it's just a method performed to heighten your state of awareness. And awareness is in the present. So again, we're stopping our brain from flying into the future and creating anxiety or falling back and creating depression, and grounding ourselves in the present moment. So breathing is a really easy way to do that, because when you are concentrating on breathing in for 4 seconds and letting it out for 6 seconds, you're focusing on your body and you're connected within. So that is a practice of mindfulness, the mind-body connection. And so they recommend that when you are in, I use guided meditation with the Headspace app. Of course my brain floats off, of course. And they talk about just letting that happen. And again, not shaming yourselves for it, but if you just reconnect, just again, concentrate on that type of deeper breathing, then of course I get distracted by a pup. Then you are connecting and being present, being mindful. So again, it's small steps. Small steps. We're working on the deep breathing, working on connecting to the present. And like I said before, just as things snowball out of control, small steps snowball us into control. So we talked about it weeks ago. Lindsay just brought it up. And just to recap, Lindsay's a consultant with Pampered Chef. I'm a consultant with Arbonne. We are both in network marketing. So we've learned, and that's one of the coolest parts about working in network marketing, is that they promote self-growth. Like, that is the biggest thing that they promote in our types of organizations, because people that go into network marketing, they want more out of life for whatever reason. For me, I mean, my main thing was to earn more, to give more. That was why I started my business. And then it turned into, holy shit, I want to just help all these people with any ailments that they have and realize that they have the control. And then it was like, oh my God, all these people in this organization are so uplifting. So it just turned into like just the best job ever. And then obviously I started this, like, it's just all snowballing into even more amazingness. So self-growth, because people who want more out of life just have to work that much harder to change their mindset, because we all have the thoughts. We all are hard on ourselves. We are conditioned, and we've talked about that over the weeks. It's not our fault, but we have control. We just have to figure out how to utilize it in small ways that build into like true confidence, true responsibility, and true accountability. So how do all of these mindful exercises help with self-accountability? These small actions made daily over time have massive impact. Building your discipline, building your responsibility, building your beliefs of who you really are, and rewiring. Remember, it's called neuroplasticity, changing the literal pathways in your brain from what you were told to believe at some point in your life, younger, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, somebody said something and it drove you to internalize it and believe it. But do you really believe that? Small actions repeated daily over time also help us with reducing our stress and connecting our mind to our body. Because what we put in our minds is equally as important as what we put in our mouths when it comes to gut health. So we don't think that we have a lot of control over what we allow into our ears, and a lot of the time we do. Like, what are you looking at as far as social media goes? What do you have on the TV? What do you feel or use the excuse, well, I have to stay connected. I have to know what's going on. But is that I have zero news in my life, zero news. If I want to look something up, I look it up on a reputable site. If you need resources, I can give them. And then I move on. Because for me, that stuff stresses the fuck out of me, creates so much anxiety, so much fear. I just know I took responsibility. I know I can't handle that. So I'm not gonna allow it in my head, because that will ruminate. That will drive me crazy. And I want to stay the good kind of crazy, not the bad kind. Okay, so we allow these things into our head, and then we have the choice, because again, we can't filter out everything. Some things will come in. We have the choice. Do we want to believe that? Do you want to believe what I'm saying right now? You get to choose. You get to choose. It's your choice. We don't often look at it that way. Stress, right? Talked about stress. Stress creates hormones in the gut. These hormones turn good bacteria into bad bacteria. So good guys that we need, that we love, that we feed, are all of a sudden be like, stress comes in, let's go guys, you're on my team. Fuck this lady. That's what happens. And that shows up: inflammation, acid reflux, bloating, poop issues, like the list goes on and on. What is stress? It's your perception. When I heard this, I'm like, what? It's what you perceive? It's not a real thing? And I get it makes sense to me after I looked at what stresses me out and what stresses Joe out. Very different situations. I mean, it's just, we have very differing beliefs in what drives us to find that emotion inside. And our perception traces back to evolution, the basics, to how we were designed. We need our system to respond to stress to protect us. But in today's life, the actual danger to turn on the fight or flight is minimal to zero. Like, we are all privileged. Like, we don't face that danger in our situations for the most part. I mean, when it comes to danger, it's usually getting into a car. That's where our awareness should be heightened and paid attention to. So how do we reduce this stress? Belly breathing, long exhales.
What?
Oh, I'm gonna just mute Jerry there. Okay. So small, so simple, but as we talked about, it turns off the fight or flight response that's connected to the vagus nerve. So the vagus nerve, like I said, not only runs from the brain to the gut, but it runs back up from the gut to the brain. So it fires back, which usually looks like fatigue, difficulty concentrating, ADD, anxiety, depression. If we take that belly breath and let out a long exhale, this allows time for a response versus a reaction. This is where compassion exists for ourselves, our own health inside, and for all other beings. If we give our minds and bodies the ingredients that it needs to do what it's meant to do, it will do its best in the circumstances that we cannot change. Our mind and our guts are what connect us to the outside world. They're housed within us, but connect us to others through our minds. That's the connection to others. And then connect us to earth through our guts, our digestive systems. So it's gut check time. Our gut organs that digest connect us to earth. So we've learned on the 30 Days to Healthy Living to eat real whole foods. And the majority of the day, that's what it is. For those that didn't notice, it's a plant-rich diet. Plant, living, It's not fully plant-based. It's 11/12 of your real whole foods are within the plant category. And that's on purpose. Plant foods, veggies, grains, fruits, nuts, seeds, beans. These are all foods that have fiber. Foods that come from animals have 0 fiber. Why is fiber so important? Because it feeds the trillions of bacteria in our gut organs. That is called our microbiome. So we have trillions of bacteria covering our outside and our inside, but they are heavily concentrated in our gut microbiome, in our digestive organs. So these bacteria are trying to partner with us to help our digestion, our immune system, our mood, our energy, our metabolism. It's all based on what we're feeding these bacteria. What will keep these bacteria flourishing is fiber. So when you think flourish, think fiber. Like those two words are buddies. And then there's a fertilizer for our bacteria to help them multiply, the good ones, so that when we are hit with stress, we have tons of other good ones to really counteract that issue that comes in and tries to recruit all the good guys to be on the bad guy team. So the fertilizer is called prebiotic, not probiotic, prebiotic. The bacteria digest the prebiotics and then release anti-inflammatories, not medication, natural anti-inflammatories and metabolites. Metabolize. We all have slowed metabolisms because we're not eating enough plants. So the anti-inflammatories and the metabolites control your immune system, reverse leaky gut, prevent Alzheimer's, prevent Parkinson's, improve your mood. So it's all about the fiber and prebiotics. Those are not found in animal sources. The single greatest predictor of a healthy gut is actually not a plant-based or vegan diet. It is diversity of plants. So a plant-rich diet. Because again, it's all about the fiber, all about the prebiotics. Veggies, whole grains, seeds, nuts, fruits, and beans. It's called biodiversity. There are thousands of different plant foods. And it can be overwhelming to branch out from what we're used to buying. But we need the diversity. We need to grow all of these bacteria for them to literally shit out vitamins and anti-inflammatories and metabolites. So things work as they should in our bodies. So all of our organs are talking to each other and functioning properly. So I'm good on time. So I really want to empathize with you because it's overwhelming when it comes to vegetables. I mean, I always ate the same, like carrots, cucumbers, bell peppers, spinach, like the handful that we always go to when we go to the grocery store. So growth work is to purchase one new vegetable every time you go to the grocery store. And I want to ask you all, should we all get the same one? Or should we all get different ones? Because we're all obviously in different parts of the world, kind of. So I think it would be neat to do either one. But I'm gonna post a like a chart, a veggie chart, in our group conversation or Facebook Messenger thread, and then also in the Clean Green Living small group. So if you're not in either one of those and you want to be, just message me and I will bring you into either or. But it's all about promoting a lasting health. So again, we have to start small, and that's why I love the 30 days, because it's plant rich. Like, the protein is made from peas, brown rice, and cranberry. And then you add 1 or 2 veggies, a fruit, a healthy fat, and then your greens shot, and you have like at least 5 servings of vegetables and fruit before lunch. Like, it's genius. And it's helping you work on putting a whole food, real food plate together without overwhelming you on trying all of these and cooking, because you all know cooking is not my joie de vivre, but I now, like, I've got a routine down. So it's a cool way of, I like to call it training wheels. And that's where I think we can wrap back to self-accountability. It's not bad to have a partner in accountability, as long as they are your training wheels for you to turn within, connect within, do the mindful practices that you want to do. Like, well, okay, maybe you don't want to do, right? Our bodies are trying to always do the easier thing, and the easier thing, especially when you're hit with like going to, a donut shop versus the gym, well, we're all going to find the easier route to the donut shop. But it's, again, if you practice it every day, it helps you build the resilience and love for yourself to be like, you know what, I'm going to go to the gym first, and then I'm going to hit the donut shop after. No. So what are your thoughts on the veggie growth work? Do we want to do the same one, or do we want to go with picking different ones and then sharing our different ways of cooking and eating and trying and failing? We're all gonna fuck something up. I mean, that's just the way it works. You're gonna try it, and then you're gonna realize, okay, well, I don't like.
Well, my thing with trying something new is, because like I'm not someone that cooks a lot either, what to do with them.
Okay.
Like,
So
something
that's
different. Like, if
Yes.
everyone,
So I think that's where we're gonna utilize our Lindsay here,
yeah.
because she's
Lindsay.
really experimented with a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And I think we could all resource. I mean, we all know somebody whose grandma made a really cool artichoke dip or something that we could all really start to help each other out, explore, learn. So that's a great point, Tina.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yes, it's Kimberly. I'd be really interested too if everyone did something new and shared how to make it, because I always go to the same thing. I go to sweet potatoes, or in a pan, just doing like olive oil, garlic, zucchini, and onions and mushrooms. It's always the same thing. So if we could share it, that would be a great network.
Awesome. Yes, great point. So even if like somebody like posts like, hey, I bought an eggplant, anybody got ideas on what I could do with this? Then we can all like share ideas. Awesome. Okay. So I think, yeah, let's all buy different ones. I'll post the veggie smorgasbord chart, and then we could all pick our own thing. Okay, so now I'd love to hear thoughts and feedback and questions or comment. Anybody?
I just never realized how much brain activity originates in your gut and how connected those two things are, so everything that you're just saying, if your gut is not where it should be, your brain isn't firing the way that it should be. It's missing the cues and the clues or whatever you want to call it. And that was just eye-opening to me.
Yes, there's multiple hormones made in the gut that the brain needs. And if we're not feeding it properly, and worse yet, if we're eating all the foods that inflame the gut even more, we're disconnected. Where there's an imbalance, there's inflammation, there's no blood flow to the brain. That's where all the mental health takes place. So we all have different genes, we all have different DNA. And a lot of the time, certain genes, like for Alzheimer's, I've been learning so much about this. If you don't have the Alzheimer's gene, like, you're a fortunate person. A lot of people have it. It gets turned on by inflammation. And inflammation starts in the gut. Health starts in the gut. But again, the mind is extremely powerful. And that if you don't have the right mindset, you can put all good things into your gut that you want. There's tons of high functioning, stressed out people that work out, eat super clean. But if they're not putting good things into their mind, there's still that disconnect. There's still an imbalance. There's still inflammation. Just remember that the inflammation or stress releases hormones in the gut that literally recruits good bacteria onto the bad bacteria team. Like, think of that when you are stressed. And then think about how you're trying to function at all levels.
That is really eye-opening.
I think the biggest thing for me was going through all those migraines that I was telling you about. And I was having a lot of problems and going to the neurologist and everything and coming off of the meat and seeing the difference in the preventative, but even like the preventative migraine meds didn't do nearly as much, I think, as just coming off of the meat in general. And now I'm noticing, like, even with the cheese, like cheese and dairy stuff now, that when I have that, I tend to go towards more of a migraine than when I don't have it at all. So I'm noticing differences now that I didn't know to look for before. So there's definitely a change there. But then I've also changed a lot of my mindset, which has been awesome since November, because now, I've kind of lassoed you into that with all of the stuff over there. So the whole meditation thing in conjunction with that is pretty amazing. So, like, kind of putting all of that in one little bubble has been great.
Amazing. And I mean, to the talk of dairy, so yeah, a lot of people question, is my motive to turn everyone vegan? No, that's not realistic. But dairy, if you think about it, has tens of hundreds of different hormones packed into cheese because it's condensed. That's supposed to feed and grow a baby to grow to 600 pounds. There's tons of different hormones, very different than humans, that throw off our systems.
Yeah.
And my goal is to, like, my mission in life which you are all a part of, is to just think a little bit more about what you're putting in your body. Because it starts with having self-compassion, compassion for yourself, and then how that affects your families, and how that affects your communities, and how that affects other beings, animals, and the earth. Like, it's all connected.
Yeah.
I think I realized also with what you eat, you have higher you said stress, but I'm also going to relate it to anxiety. And we know that they're all related together with the glucagon and the cortisol levels, and how much it's feeded into your gut with the gamma receptors, like how it's all put. But I realized even in the 3 to 5 days when you kind of eat like bad or sluggish, like you'll feel like, I feel like more anxious, or I feel like more worried, or you feel like you can't breathe as much. Like you feel like you're just like more like tiptoeish, like you're like on edge, and you're like, why am I feeling like this? But you realize when you eat a lot healthier and you drink a lot more water and you do these things for yourself, you actually feel like your mindset is better. Like you just feel like you're in more control of your life versus when you're feeding your gut with bad things. So, and I just think that back to a message that you said, on Facebook, on social media, just in those 3 to 5 days when you eat bad and what you put in your body, it's just amazing. And I realized that anxiety is a big thing for me. So, and it helps a lot. So thanks.
Yes. That's totally what changed me. Cleaning, like, because like a lot of you know, I thought I was eating really healthy before I did the 30 days. Like, I'm vegan, I'm healthy. No, I had a huge ego. And I still fight my ego all the time because I want to know everything. So it's like, I'm so hard on myself before I come and talk to you all about things that I learned, because I'm like, I gotta fucking know this, I gotta know that. If they ask this, it's like, no, if I don't know, I don't know. But my anxiety was just so different in my first 2 weeks of the 30 days. That was like, yep, this is my life. This is how I want to live. And when you clear out all of that smoke, anxiety, depression, or at least you put it at bay, it frees up so much more space for you to continue snowballing into control. All right. Well, I just love this stuff, and I just love you all for giving a poop about it. So thanks. All right. Any other thoughts or ideas for the following weeks?
No, it's nothing I can think of right now.
All right. Well, thank you.
I'm going to challenge you.
Okay.
Can you educate us about grains? I don't know anything about like chia seeds. I don't know anything about proper grain eating. So you mentioned fiber. So can you educate us a little bit more about like what is, and we know vegetables are high fiber, but what is great, like good fiber versus bad fiber? And can you educate us on ways of like learning more about how we can introduce grains into our diet?
That would be fantastic.
So grains, when it comes to grains, we all worry and are all brought to awareness of gluten, right? I'm learning a lot about gluten right now, and that if you have no inflammation to it, it actually could be very important for your heart health. So lots of research being done about that, but and I'll continue to share as I learn. But when it comes to grains, whole, organic, cannot say anything more important but organic. And then sprouted, if you guys have seen a lot about sprouted grains. What's happening is that the chemicals used to farm these grains, which is wheat, barley, millet, amaranth, quinoa, brown rice, like all the rices. So, and I think that would be our next challenge once we start getting into the deeper into the veggie world. We can start bouncing around in the grain world too. There's not as many grains, but if
I mean, I can't
again,
even name a grain. I can only name one grain. Like, I don't think anybody, I'm not, I don't want to speak for anybody else, but I can name like one grain. Like, I have no education on grains, and just like the process of how to eat a grain, how to put it into your diet, how to put it into your shake, how do you incorporate all of it? So that would be, if you want to talk about it in the near future, next couple of weeks.
okay. So as I just said, brown
Grain-
rice,
Oh,
quinoa.
seeds and nuts.
Wait, sorry, Kim.
Grains, seeds, and nuts. Explore that whole topic next week. Like, even like nuts, like I always go to almonds because I think they're the healthy one, but it's like, what else can I explore? You know, maybe some other ideas with that as well.
Okay, absolutely, yes. So great. So I will review grains, seeds, and nuts in the next next week. But just real quick, grains. We all know brown rice, quinoa, like those are very common. Then there's millet, amaranth, wheat, we know, barley, spelt. Like there's a few
Buckwheat.
other buckwheat. Good job, Marta. There's another one. Okay, so like those are the types, and us Americans, we just make two. We make brown rice and quinoa. But there's lots of others, and so those are some names, but yes, I will talk about it. They all cook very similarly. You boil them in water, you throw in some spices or broth or something to give them flavor, and then you put them in a dish with your vegetables. Like, it's quite simple. But yeah, scary because we've never made them, and so it's very intimidating and very normal, or not normal. So we have our hesitation. So yes, I get it. I'm with you. We'll explore them next week. Grains, seeds, and nuts. Great. Anything else? Anyone else? Okay, awesome. Thank you all. Thanks for opening your ears and minds and hearts and guts to this awesomeness, because we all got them. It's just really nice to know how to take better care of them, so they take care of us. It's a partnership. All right. I love you all. Enjoy the
Thank you,
evening.
Love
Courtney.
you. Thank you,
Love
Courtney.
Thank you.
Have
You're
a good
welcome.
night. Bye,
Yeah,
Talk to you
ladies.
soon, Court.
Bye.
Bye.